couple of rudimentary questions. Do you have a title? What do you call yourself?
I'm the president of the Gladstone Hotel, and I was the developer of both the building and the business.
How long has the Gladstone been in development now? I mean, when did it begin?
Well, I started in 2003.
So recently.
Yep.
Really?
But we've never closed, so we're the oldest continuously operating hotel in Toronto. So since 1890.
Yeah. But you started doing what you did to it.
In 2003.
Right. Obviously, in comparison to the Drake, which is down the street, and which is quite glitzy and zippy, the Gladstone has an entirely different fragrance, right? Entirely different ambience, which I assume you built into it deliberately. Is that true?
Well, I'm a visual artist myself, and I really grew up and found my education in the Toronto art scene. And certainly, I wanted to bring all of that sort of community work to bear in the development. I also wanted to take into consideration the actual community that was in the Gladstone. So much of the work that we were doing and the way we approached the development was through community development.
Do you consider yourself, or have you ever thought of yourself as a sort of, I hate cliches like this, but sort of a heritage person? I mean, you've gone to enormous pains to preserve the essential quality of the building.
Well, I have an enormous respect for heritage. And the development of the building, my father was the architect, my father, Eb Zeidler. And so, and Eb is known for his modernist, capital M modernist building, and also his postmodernist building.
I mean, he did the Harbourfront and the Eden Centre and some astonishing things.
Yes, the Eden Centre, Ontario Place, our
Place, beautiful,
Ontario Place.
Yeah, was very radical.
And they were incredibly radical. They were definitely development projects and community development projects. And so the approach to this development I thought was very interesting for somebody who, it shows a lot about his character, that he was willing to take this project on as a full restoration, so respecting the original architect's vision. And then my sort of job and input with it was to take the bones of this building and then breathe new life into it. So definitely ripping a page from Jane Jacobs, who is absolutely a mentor and
you keep her under your pillow?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And my sister Margaret Zeidler, who also did 401 Richmond and 215 Spadina, certainly they were incredibly close and had very much a mentor-mentee relationship.
Were you under a lot of pressure, or did you find that you had the time to choose the wonderful detailing, exquisite doors, perfect woodwork? I mean, did you develop a sort of connoisseurship?
I've developed a deep appreciation, especially for the trades which are fading. We don't have traditions of craft anymore in the country, I would say. A lot of them were immigrants who maybe the traditions weren't passed on. So a lot of the times now the trades are artists/tradespeople who've rediscovered the trade. So a lot of the woodwork was done by a fellow named Douglas Roberts, who has a studio right around the corner, and who carefully reconstructed parts of the woodworking and the front facade of the building. And certainly he approached it like an artist would. Yeah.
It feels like that. The Gladstone has a wonderfully relaxed feel about it.
Thank you.
Which I assume is part of its program, part of your intent, part of your will.
Absolutely.
And it has a powerful connection to the art community in the sense that frequently the rooms become temporarily galleries and exhibition spaces and all that. That was important to you, I guess, from the beginning?
Absolutely. A connection to the art scene, and then also what is happening in contemporary art. And what I would so love to happen, and I think is happening, and the intent is to create a location for the art scene in Toronto. So for people who want to discover it, for people who are coming in new, so tourism, people new to the area, so that you can walk in the doors, know nothing about art, and then be guided into the art scene within the hotel and then also within the neighborhood.
In that regard, it functions much more subtly and less aggressively than, say, a gallery per se. People are afraid of galleries.
Well, we have a different. We have a hybrid model that isn't. That is I wouldn't say it's an alternative to, because I don't think we're doing anything against galleries. I think what we're creating is sort of an interesting new model, which is the sort of arts within a business.
Yeah, I think you sort of midwife the arts and the serious gallery scene, don't you? I mean, you provide provide a kind of transitional way.
Well,
people
I mean,
stay here, they feel comfortable.
That's right. Okay, that's a great way to describe it. And then also sort of a relational connection. So we have connections with the bigger institutions like the AGO and the ROM, and they're able to sort of access street cred through working with us and bring in people into these larger institutions. So both the artists and the audience.
So Gladstone must be sort of in free fall now. I mean, it's in a sense done. Are you on about some other titanic, epic project?
Personally, I don't want the Gladstone to be done. I think so much a part of what we're doing is that ongoing programming, that touch is so important to the living, breathing business. So certainly all of the events that we have here and the cafe, it's a living culture, and so I would hate to think it's done. I like to think that it's still going.
Perpetually in progress.
Perpetually in progress.
Right.
But certainly personally, I am doing other projects, and I'm an artist myself, and so I have been able to go back to my practice full time.
I know you're a filmmaker. Are you making? Are you working in that area?
I'm working on a feature film right now.
That's wonderful.
Which is a wild experience and takes a lot of work. It's just.
It's funny you should say that.
Baby.
It's so funny you should say that, actually, because I was just going to say earlier and didn't, that putting a complex a proposition like the Gladstone together, I was going to say in a kind of a irreverent mood, you could all this energy and effort, you could produce a feature film, and here you are, in fact, make your self-fulfilling prophecy.
Well, I did think of this project a lot like a film project, in the sense that while I was developing it, I was sort of the leader of the ship, but it's very much, it's such a collaborative sport. There's You absolutely have to work with other people and trust them. And we have these 37 artist-designed hotel rooms, which are gorgeous art pieces in themselves.
Yeah.
And certainly that sort of trust and risk, bringing other artists and designers into the project, is much like the collaboration that you do in film, where you're setting a parameter and you're creating a vision, but you're letting the other artists speak through your project.
Right. Thanks so much, Christina.
Thank you.